video number 2 with the VK Commodore Calais. This is a 1985 model. On the first video we gave the 308 a run. This 308 is actually a 355 stroker. It's got a 770 Brawler vacuum secondary carburetor. Now this round we've got a 3.5 inch exhaust dual, and we've also got 1/2 inch Carby spacer. Let's see what the dyno says this time. Now the old exhaust was 2.5 inch, and in some places I've been told that it reduced down to 2 inches. So now we've gone all out at 3.5 inches. When I say we've, I'm just dynoing it. It's actually the owner. Cory's gone and done this. It sounds much nicer now. I can tell that right away. In the engine bay, here's our Bakelite spacer. If you can see, just brown under the carburetor there. I'll point it out to you. There it is there. Now that he's got a bit more space in the bonnet, Carby can space up, and we might even experiment with different spaces there to see how the engine responds. This is where we left off in the first video. 257 horsepower. There's our power and torque graph. So on the runs, this being a manual car, we were starting at around 2,800 revs. And then we were going to just under 6,000 there. So we ended up 257 horsepower, and the torque curves here, our peak torque is around about 300 foot-pounds. Let's see how she runs up now. How do we go? Well, let me grab the camera and let's look at the dyno. There's our peak numbers, 267 horsepower versus the 257, and here's the overall picture. So let's look at it from top down. So near where we were making 257 horsepower, we've got a gain of probably the smallest gain here, which is about 10 horsepower. As we come down to the middle here, which is around 4,500, we've nearly got 20 horsepower gain there. And then as we come down at about 3,500, we've got a little crossover point where our new exhaust and the new configuration dips down, maybe gives away perhaps 5 horsepower between 3 and 3,500. And then where we begin to run at about 2,700, we're just about the same. So this has gone as expected, because with the bigger exhaust system, now 3.5 inch, perhaps way bigger than what the car needs now, we've picked up power 3,500 and up. And again, it wasn't a huge gain, which kind of tells us that the 2.5 inch exhaust system, which in some places where it was 2 inches, it was probably sufficient for the job. It was holding the car back maybe that 10-20 horsepower that we've measured there. Okay, so final thoughts and what we've learned from experimenting with this car and the exhaust system. Obviously there's an ideal size for an exhaust. So as we go too big, maybe in this case we may have gone a little bit too big, and there may be bigger power gains if we were to size the exhaust down a little bit. So we don't know that, but from what we can see there, it's definitely picked up power in the areas where it counts. So coming back to sizing of exhaust systems, just a quick story on a personal experience of mine. Arthur from Performance Exhaust, he's got a very nice Commodore. He's got an LSA supercharged 6.2 litre in his car, and on his car he runs a 3 inch exhaust system all the way to the diff, and over the diff he's got a 2.5 inch gooseneck and 2.5 inch mufflers to quieten it down a little bit. The car makes about 600 horsepower to the back wheel, so when it was on the dyno for experimentation and seeing how much power we'd gain, we took off the 2.5 inch section, so essentially just going to 3 inch straight pipes, and that day we've picked up next to nothing. So obviously that exhaust system's flowing enough for what the car's needs are. So again, comes back down to, I guess, having the right size exhaust system. Bigger pipes, bigger diameter always sounds fuller and louder, if that's always a consideration when we've got a car like this. It's got to sound good as well as go good, so sound's part of the equation, so let's not ignore that. and I guess picking sizes, etc., depends how much power the engine makes. So my guess would be that on this car, if we probably had a good 2¼ or 2½ inch system, mandrel bent, really good flowing, it's probably going to do what we would have achieved today. Now we've got 3½ inch pipes, so we're going to upgrade the engine to suit. I don't know what's going to come on next, but we're probably looking at a supercharger, or at least a tunnel ram or something else, just something, you know, something new to play with the car. Okay, well, I'll see you with video number 3 once we've got that going. Over and out for now.